The reality is that we cannot safely reopen our schools.
Now at 6 New Jersey classrooms closed for the year. Students will stay at home. The new struggles facing teachers and families now. And countdown to reopen the parts of New York that could reopen in weeks, and what's holding up things in the metropolitan area. And New Jersey's largest city ups the ante on testing. A look at the ambitious plan to test all of its homeless population. Good evening, I'm Chuck Scarborough.
And I'm Natalie Pasquarella. Thank you for joining us tonight. Let's start with New York. All daily indicators continue the downward trend there. Daily COVID-19 deaths dropped to 226. And for the first time since late March, new hospitalizations are now under 800. And as of now, 1 million New Yorkers have been tested for the virus, but there is still a long way to go. Of the 7 key metrics listed in Governor Cuomo's reopening plan, no part of the state has met them all. You can see that the map here shows how many of the 7 metrics different areas met. The key problems in our area: new hospitalizations are still too high, and the number of free hospital beds is still too low. The governor says 30% of all hospital beds need to be empty. There are now more than 250,000 deaths around the world to report. Here in the tri-state, 29,881 people have died. We want to go to News 4's Andrew Siff live on the Lower East Side with the city's latest efforts to keep flattening this curve. Andrew.
Right, and Natalie, behind me is one of the 472 subway stations in the city, and every single one of them will be closing Wednesday morning at 1 a.m. Why? Because the MTA says it needs those stations closed in order to do a real deep cleaning of the system. Wiping down subway poles, mopping the floors, and disinfecting everything they can reach today. But the MTA said amid a homeless epidemic underground, it hasn't been enough. So they'll begin deeper cleaning overnights from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. starting Wednesday with the system shut down. Why couldn't you do this disinfection operation without suspending service overnight?
Everyone leaving the trains and leaving the system gives us the ability to truly clean everything. Right now, if people don't leave, we're cleaning around them. We might not even be cleaning that car.
It's up to Governor Cuomo if and when overnight service returns and when business can begin again. Today, Cuomo unveiling a matrix of rules and benchmarks which may allow parts of the state to reopen at the end of next week.
Do you have a health care system in place? Is your health system ready? Can your hospitals handle it? Have you talked to the businesses about how they're going to reopen?
Stay safe.
Here in the city, it will take longer. The mayor's office coordinating distribution of 7 million face coverings starting today.
They really do help. They really do reduce the spread of the disease.
The renewed emphasis on minimizing the spread of coronavirus comes as the densely packed city figures out how to behave in better weather. The mayor promised 40 miles of streets closed to cars and open to pedestrians. So far, only 7 are ready.
I'm a parent, and there is no space for social distancing with your children.
But the medical news is improving for now. Field hospitals like this one in Central Park getting ready to close down. That's after a steady drop in hospitalizations, ICU admissions, and the percentage of New Yorkers testing positive for COVID-19.
An excellent day. All 3 down, all moving in the same direction. Let's do it again.
The MTA also announced late today it is nearly doubling the number of buses that run overnight. The purpose for that is to get nearly 11,000 essential workers to their jobs. That's the latest reporting live on the Lower East Side. Andrew Siff, News 4 New York.
Andrew, thank you. In New Jersey, hospitalizations keep dropping, and the state hit a new low in daily deaths, with 45 reported. There were also 1,600 new cases, but the governor says those numbers may not be complete because of a computer outage over the weekend. And today, Governor Murphy canceled school for the rest of the academic year, a move affecting more than 1.5 million students in the state. News 4's Brian Thompson is live in Long Branch now with how teachers and students are reacting to this news. Brian?
Yeah, Chuck, and I can tell you right now there is a little girl in Marlboro by the name of Charlotte. Her grandmother, Joyce Becker Sugarman, tells me she cheered the news, but Mommy was not quite so happy, and that should come as no surprise. Really, the reaction is all over the map.
We have the letter F. F makes the sound.
Long Branch kindergarten teacher Sade Montgomery gets up at 6:30 every morning to prepare these YouTube videos for her students. She knows it's not the best way to teach.
I don't want to say, oh, that's not correct. You don't want to come off the wrong way to a parent who's doing the best that they can do. But at the same time, I can't, I want to get in there and help. And I'm limited to what I can do virtually.
But the governor's order to keep schools such as Long Branch Middle School closed for the rest of the school year, other than for lunch meal pickups, is, according to Governor Murphy, one of simple data.
If the standards to reopen our workplaces are high, they are even higher when it comes to schools filled with our most precious assets, our children.
So school traditions go out the window these next 5 weeks or so. Administrators scrambling to figure out how to honor their graduating students.
Whether it be driving to homes or parades or just something simple that we can make sure that we're telling the community that we care about them, and we certainly care about our children.
As for teacher and mommy Montgomery, in addition to her pre-K daughter Aubrey, well, her fourth grader Avery also homeschooling at a table and riding his bike outside, a rare opportunity to exercise.
They are definitely going to miss something. They're going to miss social interaction. It's huge in development.
Avery would agree. What he misses:
my friends, recess, all my teachers.
Now, I talked to Dr. Salvatore, the superintendent here in Long Branch, and he talked about other issues come the fall, if indeed school rooms and buildings can be put back into use. Sure, you can have everybody wear a mask. Sure, maybe you can start socially separating them. But what do you do when you have hundreds of kids who are supposed to be eating lunch at the same time? What do you do at the beginning of school when hundreds of students are all trying to get into the schoolhouse at the same time? These are all issues that over the course of this summer, officials are going to have to work out here in New Jersey and probably all over the country. Live in Long Branch, Brian Thompson, News 4 New York.
All right, Brian, thank you. A lot of work ahead, obviously. Well, encouraging news from Connecticut today. Officials in Fairfield say that Fairfield, Hartford, and New Haven counties are all on a downward trend for COVID-19 hospitalizations. But they also announced 61 new deaths and 886 new cases. The total number of deaths in Connecticut now is more than 2,500. The number of confirmed cases has topped 30,000.
The death rate, blessedly, is slightly lower the last 5 days than it was the previous 5 days. Hospitalization is down. I think that's for 12 days in a row now. That's an important metric.
Governor Lamont says he plans to make an announcement about the rest of the school year tomorrow. Natalie?
Well, Chuck, the city says it's working nonstop to get homeless people into shelters after 2 men were found dead in subway cars over the weekend. We've learned that one of the homeless men tested negative for COVID-19. Tests on the other man are pending. Transit workers discovered their bodies on a C train in Washington Heights and a 4 train in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. And in Newark, a first for New Jersey and even possibly the nation. The city has started to test all of its homeless population. The goal here is to test almost 2,000 people in 21 shelters over the next few weeks. News 4 investigative reporter Sarah Wallace is in Newark now with how this works.
It was a voluntary offer to take the coronavirus test made to the nearly 200 homeless men and women now being housed at a hotel shelter near Newark Airport. Most signed up. It's just the beginning of an effort to test all of Newark's estimated 2,200 homeless people.
They are out in the open. They are most exposed to the virus. They're moving around, and they have the greatest opportunity to be a vector or an individual who passed the virus on.
It's estimated 3/4 of Newark's homeless are now in some kind of shelter, but that means hundreds remain on the streets. The nonprofit group Bridges has spearheaded an outreach program to get people into a safe, controlled environment.
How long have you been out here?
Oh, I've been out here since a few years now.
And the structure of this one is working, even for the most resistant. It opened in mid-April.
It offers folks a single-room occupancy situation. So the folks that have been on the street for years with co-occurring conditions, mental illness, substance use disorder, who would decline shelter when we offered it to them and it was in a congregate setting. More often than not now, they're saying yes.
Sensitivity is key. The testing is utilizing the new, less intrusive version of the nasal swab.
So you're literally just putting it right in the front of the opening of the nose on both sides. It's more comfortable, quicker to do, and decrease the risk of transmission to those who are doing the testing.
Newark plans to expand its testing to a 400-bed shelter later in the week and then move on to the other 19 homeless facilities. Anyone who tests positive will be quarantined at a separate site.
Another development beginning on Wednesday. Testing will be available to the general public here at the Branchbrook Park roller rink. You do have to call for an appointment and also be symptomatic. From Newark, Sarah Wallace, News 4 New York.